Is it worth it to do this, or will my queue pop in the middle of it? My queue will probably pop, so let's just not bother. Hey, it's run a few fates. God damn it. So, I'm one off, right? I need 17. So even if I had that one, it still would take 60 seconds for the thing it would take 60 seconds for the fate to be considered complete. So even if I turn this in, it's not like it would instantly complete the fate. It would then say, oh, okay, we're going to wait 60 seconds. But the queue will only wait 45 seconds. So even if I wanted to, click wait, like, so if it was already waiting, like if it was already, I don't want to be victim answer. If it was already in the waiting state, and I only had 30 seconds left, I could just, let the timer run. Once the fate completes, have it count, and then accept and come in here. But because I hadn't even turned it in, so even if I had gotten that extra one just then, right, it would still be 60 seconds. And my queue would have, I would have missed it 15 seconds earlier. So that is unfortunate. But whatever. There will always be more fates. And I need this far more. I still not at 20, 25 because I slacked off. There's basically a bunch of days where I just not work, where I did not log in. It's basically this exact same thing happened last time too. Last expansion, when Endwalker dropped, that was when they first introduced PvP series, the PvP series, rewards and shit. But I hadn't done. I thought I got HP for it. A lot hard casting this. Or am I just getting so little? Oh, I got 3,000. God, it's barely anything. Oh my god, that is such fucking dog shit! I'm getting fucking chain fucking CC! Fucking hold the fucking center, keep trying to fucking heal myself, Tree's trying to get the fuck out, and I get CC again! I just can't get the fuck out! It's so fucking annoying, this fucking CC! It's like you can't tell when it actually is happening. It's so fucking annoying, it's such bullshit. It just fucking sucks in any game, no matter what it is. It sucks when you can't move your character. It sucks when when you can't do what you're trying to actually do. when you just want to fucking play the fucking game, and now you're being absolutely butt-fucked by some random bullshit that you can't even tell it's happening.
There's a YouTube channel called Mr. White, and Mr. Beast can be paid 1,000 people to have their eyes fixed. Apparently, they use stock footage of doctors fixing people's eyes, and they couldn't actually continue with guys. I don't know if that's true, and there's been some reach out, but I'll have to make another video. It's not out of it.
But yeah, generally I dislike that. CC is just annoying. It's because you get just fucked. Oh my god, are you kidding me? This is like the shittiest fucking thing, where they basically give both other teams their own personal crystal, instead of having a center one for the third team. It's like, no, we're just gonna fuck you. Shit, run. Okay, so we're kind of fucked. Our team is absolutely dog shit. We can't even fucking fight them at all. We actually got pushed back from their own fucking node. Our team sucks dick. Okay, we're gonna be third. That's unfortunate. Whatever. I mean, it's super bad luck too. Where basically they give two other teams their own personal crystal, forcing the third team to have to go get. And now obviously, since those two crystals happen, there's gonna be a center one. Now probably it's gonna be a war between them and the center. But like, it does suck, right? So one, we're on the shittiest team. Like, our team just sucks dick. Like, we just are absolutely terrible compared to the other teams. Like, maybe our team's not bad, but the other teams are better. So we're pretty much guaranteed to be last in this. Yeah, at this point, like, we're really far behind, for one. That's bad, obviously. But also, it's just the fact that, like, we're obviously last. We're not able to push at all that well. So, like, it's just bad. And, like, the fact that we're, like, apparently feeding them. It's just like, dude, it's like, yeah, so it seems like Adder's gonna win this. It's a shame. It's a shame. God damn, it's absolutely dog shit. We're absolutely fucked. It's just we're bad. We're on an unlucky team. You wanna know why? It's because for both instances, again, it's another time where both crystals are on either of their end. So we as the odd team out, we as the absolutely fucked team now have to push in on them. So we have to go all in on one of their nodes where they have easy access to and super easy to defend. While for them, so basically what they get is when those two for their teams, when they pop for their teams, they just go back to their node and defend it, right? And then when they're done, the center node comes out, so they can get some more. They can get the center node, right? So like that's the absolutely dog shit thing about this is that they can go from getting 200 points on their node to then working towards getting shit on the middle node. And they can go and work towards getting shit on the middle node. So like that and so that's God damn, this is fucking dog shit. This is absolutely fucking shit. So yeah, so basically when the two nodes pop out in their two, I mean to be fair, this happens for every single game, right? There's always going to be one odd team out. And the odd team out is absolutely fucked. Because when the teams, when the red and yellow crystals pop next to them, what do? Well, they just go after the red and yellow crystal. Like that's just all they do. That's it. That's all they need to do. They just go there and defend themselves, right? Easy enough. And then when they defeat their node, you know what reappears? Well, the center crystal appears, as well as the third team's crystal, right? Well, so what do? Well, after they've gotten their own crystal for the full 200 points, they come out and fight for the middle crystal, right? While the team that was absolutely fucked before, the team that had to invade the other team. So basically, for that, we're not going to get points for the crystals, right? The only thing we can do as the third team is go after and invade their base and go for kills. That's it. That's all we can do. We can only go for kills. Because there's no way in hell we'll be able to push far enough in to actually get points off their crystal without dying. So, like, it's all we can do is go and pick one team and harass them and hope that we're able to push in and get some kills. It sucks. Because now we got the crystal. Oh, look, the center one's gone, right? So it's just like, yeah, this is just really shit. Because the problem is, it's just the way it scales, right? It's because those two crystals pop, and that's just what happens. And that's just it. Like, that's all we can do. We can only invade another team, and usually on the back end, like, so we can only just kind of go in and harass them a little bit, and that's it. That's all we can do. We can't, like, unless our team fucking helps. Thanks, fucking assholes. Thanks, fucking dipshits. Thanks for not fucking doing it. What the fuck are you doing? Oh my god, we're fucking retarded. And why is the center one popping? Well, because fucking yellow got theirs already. So because we didn't go in on red, we're essentially just guaranteeing our loss. Because we will never be able to keep up. Ever. And it's just fucking annoying, yeah. I guess I've never really been, or either I've never really been paying attention. Maybe that's it, and that could be it. Like, it could be that I just never paid attention. I've never paid attention when other people. Yeah, but like, just no way we can win. See, look, they're at 1,300. We're 300 behind. We just cannot win because even if we get this 200 will still make us short because every time they are going after their crystal, they get the full 200 points. And they can go in on the middle crystal and get some, and maybe split the points half and half there, right? So they get 200 from theirs and then 100 from the middle crystal. what do we get? Well, no, we have to focus on the middle crystal. Well, we can't focus on the middle crystal because we're so focused on beating our own crystal. So, yeah, this does suck, actually. I guess I've been lucky enough where I'm either A, never on the team that gets absolutely fucked. So yeah, so they've already beaten the middle crystal. I guess we've been just lucky enough where I've never been on the team that gets absolutely fucked, or like I'm so lost in it, or our team does so well that I never notice, right? Like I'm either on a really good team that's able to really push shit, and so we're always able to keep the points relatively close that I don't notice the fact that, like, oh my god, yeah, when the crystals are on. And realistically, this happens for every single time. There's always one team that gets screwed, because it's always going to be the crystals are either going to start out with either the two crystals near two of the party members are going to spawn, or one of the crystals near one of the party members is going to spawn, and the middle one spawns. Like, that's the only thing it can do. And then once those two crystals are destroyed, it'll then cycle through the other ones. So. So, like, look, I mean, we're actually doing pretty well. So I guess we have some pretty good killers. Because, like, with this 200 points, we're actually gonna become second. It's actually surprising, but yeah, goddamn. I guess it's kind of good that these little mini crystals. But yeah, again, when do the mini crystals spawn? Well, the mini crystals spawned. The mini crystals spawn. Yeah, there's so many. Jesus Christ. If we win this, I'll be very, very surprised. There's no way in hell, right? Like, yeah, okay, we didn't lose. I cannot believe we did not get last, though. We were so far behind. That was fucking insane. How far behind we were. The fact that we were able to sneak out second at the end. I'm like, yeah, Adder must have really gotten fucked. Like, Red must have really pushed on Adder to ruin their point lead. But yeah, I didn't realize how much this really blows for one of the teams. How at such a huge disadvantage. Because obviously, when do those crystals pop? Well, those crystals popped, the small ones, while we were still working on our big one. So essentially, while every other team can spread out, because maybe not, because like, and the problem too is that it was when the middle and one team's one was there. So sure, like, the other two teams will focus on the middle, will work on the middle, but they can also spread out because their personal crystal's not up yet, so they can go after the tiny crystal. Whereas us, no, we have to focus on the big crystal while the small ones are up, so we can't rush after them. So, yeah, that kind of blows. Okay, so let's do leveling. Oh, shit. I forgot I can't. I kind of wish it would automatically unqueue from a roulette once you get into a roulette, because it's like, I don't need to go into a roulette. Like I just did a roulette. You only get bonus for daily. Like, maybe once it's successful, remove it from the queue so I don't have to undo it manually. But anyway. But yeah, like that kind of blows. I never realized how fucked how fucked one team gets. I guess obviously I've always been on. I could have just. Oh wait, I only have one of those things. Let's see there. But yeah, like that's kind of crazy. Yeah, I get it. Because like, it's obviously a 1 in 3 chance, right? You're either put on the team that has to deal with, that or not. That's it. So it's understandable I could have missed that, because obviously it's only a 1 in 3 chance. And I can go like weeks without ever seeing it, right? But yeah, I was totally expecting us to get fucked. Oh wait, there was another round of this. So yeah, I was really surprised by that. Yeah. But yeah, that was definitely surprising. Oh, okay. So I should have done the small pull and then done a big pull, or done a super big pull. Okay. Whatever. But yeah, I totally did not realize how sucky that is for one side. Wait, was that open? God damn it! I don't know what to pull. I think we need gem. Oh wait, no, we need grapes and something else. What was it again? Grapes and helm, I think. Okay, shit. So I could have done the. Okay, yeah. So that was fine. I was. Okay. So shit. But yeah, I didn't realize how bad it was. Like, I mean, I guess that's the problem too. Is that so? This when you do frontline roulette, you only do when you do frontline roulette. Jesus Christ, get the fuck over so I don't waste my fucking potencies. When you do frontline roulette, roulettes, you're only doing once. So like shatter only appears once every 3 days, right? So realistically, if you think about it, right? If you have a 1 in 3 chance of being put on the, God, Jesus Christ, these fucking bees. 1 in 3 chance of being put on the team that gets screwed, right? So yeah, like. Shit. But yeah, so it's a 1 in 3 chance of getting on the team that's going to get screwed. So it's understandable, like, yeah. And then, of course, Shatter only has a 1 in 3 chance of getting... Well, not really a 1 in 3 chance, but every 3 days it's selected as part of it. Actually, no. Is it every 3 days or every 4 days? I think there are 4. Yeah, there's... Actually, no, I think one of the original Frontlines is no longer active at the moment. So, so I think it still is... I think it still is... once every 3 days. So, but yeah. So it is so yeah, once every 3 days, and then you have a 1 in 3 chance of getting it. So, you know, on average, once every 9 days, you should so, yeah, it's a 1 in 9. On average, if you perfect average, once every 9 days, if you're doing Frontline Roulette every single day, you'll. Yeah, I think I fucked up. Yeah. It would have been fine if it wasn't, There we go. There we go. Yeah, the problem is the other ads pushed it off. It was on. I did it perfectly fine. It was on. But because of all the ads, it shoved it off, which, oh, come on, dude. So, that was kind of annoying. I was actually a little worried. I was like, oh shit, are we gonna die? But no, he was relatively good. Got pretty low. I'm like, oh. That's when I was actually checking my death save. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have my death save at this time, which sucks. But yeah, so you have like a 1 in 9 chance, or not really 1 in 9 chance, but once, on average, if you do Frontline Roulette every single day, once every 9 days will you be put on the team that kind of screws you. Which is like, you know, it's, realistically, you gotta just think, okay, well, you have to do Frontline on the Shatter Day, and you only have a 1 in 3 chance of that, but even then, if you're doing it only once a day, I think it's flame fruit. I think. Free stuff. But yeah, so. Oh wow, it's all neat. Cool. I don't need any of it. I'm gonna scrap it all. Anyway, so yeah, that's the tough thing about this is that yeah, you just don't notice that shit. And so yeah, like I totally did not realize that it really screwed that one team over. I guess I've just never been on that team. Like I have noticed that there are times where I'm defending when we're defending our crystal, and I see another team come after us. And I never really gave any actual thought of why that was happening, but it's because they're the team that got screwed that time. Yeah, well, this is because these morons didn't fucking get in the fucking thing. You need to kill this thing. No one went in, so I had to go in. Yeah. Oh, Ollie. Anyway, so yeah, we did pretty well. I think they kind of forgot the mechanics. I mean, to be fair, I kind of did. Well, I didn't really forget the mechanics. I just forgot the mob placement, so I wasn't able to do my big pulls appropriately. Let's see, I got something. Do I have that? Yeah, of course I do. You never know. It could be one of these weird things. Jesus Christ, seriously? Oh, okay. I was gonna say like another thing I can need on. I got like 4 pieces, but then that was a duplicate of one of the ones I already got. Okay, let's get it. I didn't need to. I probably should have. I should have saved that for a DPS class. But like, I probably. Oh, actually, no. There's no point because weekly reset. Wait, did I get that? The roll? Why? I rolled a 12 on that. No one else rolled on it. Huh, I guess it must be shit. I do know they come back and like add cool rolls to it. Oh, I'm still here. Oh yeah, because I insta-queued. So, okay, let's see. Is the Alliance or the... Okay, so Alliance... Oh, it's tank in need. How long have I been... Actually, shit, huh. I've been streaming for 40 minutes. I've been doing shit for 40 minutes. I probably don't want to do it in Alliance Roulette. That's... If I'm lucky, it's 20. If it's you know, one of the if it's one of the if I'm lucky, it's one of the super easy ones. You know, if I'm lucky, it's one of the Labyrinth of the Ancient ones, which we beat in like 16 minutes. Like you can beat those ones in like sub 20 minutes. But if I'm unlucky and I get like a Puppet's Bunker again, or Orban, that's a good 30, 40 minutes, depending. 30 minutes if you got a team of an entire 24 man of people who know what the fuck they're doing and are like level syncing down, then yeah, you can beat that in 30 minutes. But you need like everyone needs to know what they're doing, and like it's 24 people. There's bound to be people who are new or who have forgotten. Because like I have a pretty good memory. But like, I'm actually, I'll try selling this because it looks like the Apocalypse. So some people might do it if they don't want to get the relic weapon. Oh, a ring. I mean, a ring. I'm actually surprised the queue hasn't popped yet. Oh, actually, wait a minute. Let me pick up. Wait, do I have my elite mark on? Let me see, do I have intermediate, elite, Centurio? Okay, that's that one. Oh, okay, huh. Okay, so, fuck. So I could go after them now. I could. The problem with those ones, though, is they suck. They suck so hard. They're really in the middle of nowhere, and I forget where the spawn points are. Because like back in the day, those areas are huge, and there's like shitloads of spawn points. Like Heaven's Sword definitely got better. In fact, they even split A ranks too, where it was like, oh, this A rank is on these half the spawn marks. This A rank is on these half the spawn marks. So you wouldn't have to like fight literally everything. You could just be like, oh, okay, well, I want this hunt. I'm only going to look in these spots. So even though you did have, I mean, and flying was introduced at that point too. So it's like, even though it did kind of suck, because there was a lot of ground to cover, you could fly at that point, and it did semi-limit you, because it was like, oh yeah, you can fly, but you don't need to get all of the spots either. So it's like, even though it's a huge area, What? Oh, I was doubling up on fire? I thought I was doubling up on water. Damn, I was thinking the queue would be better, but this is not. I mean, it says less than 5 minutes. It's only been 3. I was expecting an Insta, so it's a shame it's not. I'm hoping because this one could take a little bit too, depending on. Oh, there we go. This one could. It depends on which one you get. I forget which one's the longest one. I think Purgatorium still is the longest, simply because of the cutscenes. Because Castrum is pretty short. Because there's not many cutscenes. It's mostly just push and kill, push and kill, push and kill. Win one cutscene at the end. Ultimate Weapon's kind of annoying because it just takes a while to kill at the first phase, and then also the second phase. It's like and one cutscene in the middle. Purgatorium is, fortunately, the longest, and that's the one I got. On the bright side, it does give you the most experience. So they do scale the amount of experience you get from each of the 3 leveling roulettes, or leveling MSQ roulette instances. They do scale the amount of experience you get based on the expected amount of time in them. So, he's a basic bitch. He's a full set Andy. He just took the Halloween set as is. I mean, to be fair, I really like it too. But I did mix it up. The only 2 pieces of the Halloween set I used together was the chest piece and the horns. Because the horns are... Oh, actually, no, he's not full set Andy. His hands are different. His hands are the Diamochus ones, I think. Or... What was it called? I think it was a D, I think. But I think, yeah, the shoes, pants, short chest, and hat are all from the same set. Which is like, yeah, whatever. I mean, I did get it. I also have my Dragoon and Reaper are both currently on full set. They just took the first Pandemonium maiming set. I'm just using that undyed, just exactly as it is, because it looks so good together. And that's the tough thing. You get pieces that are just so good. They just work so well together. What the fuck's this guy doing? Fuck's this guy? Okay, well, I guess we're gonna just kick him the second we possibly can. Oh, there he goes. Okay, never mind then. I was considering just waiting until the earliest possible time to kick him. Because unfortunately, that's the sucky thing, is you have a guy who just like fucking AFKs, you can't actually remove them for the first 10 minutes. Or not for 5 minutes. So you can't remove them for the first 5 minutes, which is understandable to prevent harassment. You know? To prevent people from just... Because if you could do it whenever, then what people would do is to be like, oh, okay, I don't like you. You suck. Like, see, that's the problem. Like, that's the reason why I stopped. Because look, he just kept running away. I'm like, why did you keep running away? Like, we're not going to run anymore. Like, we're good. There's no more ads to pull. You should assume the tank will stop exactly where it needs, like right once it has all aggro, because there's no point in going further. And you can be like, oh, well, like, this is where the next spot is. Yeah, but why run to that next spot while I'm taking damage from all the ads, right? There's no point in running. So, yeah. I will die on that hill. But, yeah. So... But yeah, so You shouldn't keep running. Like, he kept running. It's like, dude, what? I mean, this one does suck for him as a black mage because he has to keep moving anyway for the AoEs and shit. Like AoEs just random. Like there's nothing he can do about that. It's unfortunate. But like, why are you moving? Why? Only move when you need to move. That's bad. That's bad black maging. A black mage only moves when they absolutely need to move. You don't need to move. Don't fucking move, right? Because instead of like, there are some examples where it's fine, like preemptive, proactive movement, where you know, okay, I know an attack's coming up, like because of the timing of the fight, or I know mechanics are gonna happen, so I know I'm gonna need to go over this way, so I'm gonna start moving the second my cast is up, so that I can get to the assigned spot, so that I can then plant myself and then start my cast, right? That's the only kind of reason why you would move when you don't need to, when there's not an AoE directly on you as a black mage. And the problem with this is there is no, especially against those pack of mobs, there's no mechanic like that. There's no mechanic where you know it's going to happen and where it's going to happen. So as black mage, is to get the fuck out of the AoE and immediately start continuing your rotation, right? That's what you do. You don't move. You don't move before an AoE because the AoE is not necessarily going to land. Now, he was getting screwed and getting AoE after AoE after AoE, but it's not guaranteed to go on him. It could go on any one of us, so. But, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't really matter. So as you can see, those are the new pants. Now that's the thing, it all looks really, really good together. I mean, I don't know why he dyed the boots blue. The boots were black, all solid black. And for some reason, he chose like a metallic purple, which is like doesn't really make sense because I believe the top part of the gradient is grape purple, and the bottom part is like I don't even think it's in the purple range. I think it's in the pink. Either way, he dyed the soles of the shoes a color that doesn't really make sense because it's not either one of the gradient colors on either end. Unfortunately, I would have just left him as black, but I get it, right? Like, it's a splash of color, whatever. But the only thing he changed was the hands, which is, it's whatever. But I mean, I've done that too. Even still, like, and that's the Abyssa stuff. So that's Endwalker. So I've had that set for like 2 years. I haven't changed it because it just looks so fucking good. It matches so well with my Dragoon. So I have the Lux Dragoon relic from Heavensward, which has the glowing little dragon at the end and it's like the spear, and the Dragoon armor set I have is this kind of like this Greek outfit kind of, like the kind of like the robes over, kind of like this has this mantle and kind of like has sandals and stuff. Has a kind of like a Greek Roman influence of stuff, but it's mostly also white and grays, and the white really matches well with the glow of my Dragoon weapon, and the cool, really, really cool thing I really, really like with it is that there are these angel wings, essentially, these white bird wings that you can equip, and they look really good with the outfit. They make it, essentially, it really gives the angel vibes, because it's like, it really gives angel vibes, because like, you're wearing this kind of like Greek, Roman type clothing. It gives that kind of ancient, just an angel type thing. So I thought that was really, really cool. And then, of course, my Dragoon Lux weapon has, it has a dragon spear tip, but you can easily say, yeah, well, that's an angel. Or it's angelic in a way, because it has wings, right? Damn it. Anyway, so yeah, it has these very angelic vibes, especially with the wings. And the cool thing is now that the way they've done fashion accessories is that now you can actually wear your wings in combat in open world areas. You can't do it in instances, so you can't like make that work. But you can in in the overworld. So it's like cool. So whenever you're out hunting or something or doing fates and stuff, you can have your little angel wings on. So it's cool. It's a cool thing. I really like it. But yeah, I thought it was also really cool that you could do that. I hope they eventually add instances to I hope they eventually add it to the point where you can have fashion accessories on in instances as well. Because like they've kind of done that with glasses now. So you have an extra glasses slot where you can have glasses on regardless of your in addition to whatever your helm is. So before I was just using glasses as my helm. I'd have to glam over. And I still kind of do because the glasses I like the most are elegant rimless, and they don't have that yet in the glasses accessories. The glasses on the armor list yet. Obviously they will. Like at some point they're going to have all of those on, so I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, that will be cool because now I can start wearing hats again. Before I wasn't wearing hats because, well, I want glasses. I want my character to have glasses because she looks so hot with glasses. So now I don't have to do that. So, but the fact that they did something like that makes it seem like, yeah, eventually they're going to get to the point they'll have the network bandwidth to essentially allow fashion accessories as well to be on permanently. I don't know if I don't know how they'll implement it. I don't know if they'll be like in the armor list. Like I don't know if they'll add an accessory slot into the armor list as well, like they did for glasses. They'll have a separate one for other things, for all other fashion accessories, perhaps. It's possible that, I mean, no, the glasses slot is a glasses slot, so presumably be a second one. Either that or they'll just allow you to have your accessories on in between. So that'll be cool. So I'm looking forward to when that happens. I'm also looking forward to when elegant rimless becomes common. So yeah, like this outfit, for instance, has the sunglasses. Now these are the seasonal sunglasses, so I'm not sure if they're ever gonna make sure to include seasonal glasses to the fashion accessories list. They might. I mean, it's not crazy hard. Like the only difference is that the way they've implemented glasses are actually really cool. In that you don't have you can't dye whatever color you want anymore. There's preset colors, but they give you like the base colors as them undyed, and then like 7 other colors or like 9 other colors. I forget if it's 8 or 10 varieties they give you. So they have a variety of colors already set. So it would kind of suck because I would want it to be light blue. I want my coral blue for this because I've dyed all my other shit coral blue. So there's the coral. I think I have the coral. I think all. Actually, no. I might have royal blue. It might be. Yeah, it might be royal blue chest and legs because the royal blue affects what the leopard spots are. So you can see the leopard spots themselves are bluish, but it'll actually be a lighter blue for the actual fabric itself, or like the fabric in between the spots. So the royal blue decides that. So if I was coral blue, it'd be actually even lighter because the spots would be a light blue and they make the fabric a lighter blue. So I made the glasses coral blue because it basically matches the color of the fabric of the swimsuit itself. But if they add the seasonal sunglasses to the glasses inventory, then I would only be able to do a preset number. I mean, obviously I could still glam it like a normal piece of equipment, but we'll see how they end up doing it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to maybe having fashion accessories, being able to wear fashion accessories. There aren't that many, but there are a few. Like, there's the variety of wings. Realistically, you wouldn't even need, because like most of the fashion accessories are an umbrella, but you wouldn't use an umbrella inside because one, they don't have it raining, and two, whenever you initiate combat with an umbrella, you take off the umbrella. So the only fashion accessories you really realistically need to bring into instances are the ones that are just wings, essentially. Wings, backpacks, head accessories, that type of shit. And head accessories are kind of covered by the glasses thing. You could just say, hey, glasses / head accessories. And then just a separate backpack. And that could be it. It could just be like they could just have a backpack icon. So it's like, so whatever's on your back, any fashion accessory on your back, and they could put that in the armory chest so that you could be able to wear both. Obviously, it's ways down the way. Like, they did this now. I really appreciate what they've done so far. The fact that they've done this is also a sign for that, things are improving, things are getting better, and will continue to get better. But even for the graphical update they said that's not complete. Like, they only did certain core aspects of the graphics. And there are other things that they will be improving over time, improving textures and stuff for old models and all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to how that will shake out. So yeah, you can kind of see like the underpinnings of that was like had a pixelated thing. I mean, it's just what happens, right? Like you design it on a computer, it's then printed out on that. You get people saying, "Oh, World of Warcraft is much better." It's like, in a way, because the whole point was they do hand painted stuff, so it's less likely to pixelate. But also, there's also the fact that World of Warcraft models and designs are essential. So basically, what this game does, they take these models, and these models, like, you wouldn't even notice the pixelation, but it's only because you can zoom in so much on your character. Like, the reason why World of Warcraft looks okay is, one, they took these incredibly basic models and doubled their size. So now you have a pattern that should realistically fit on something much smaller. They just enlarged it and smoothed it out. And the fact that you just generally don't ever zoom in on your character. You can, obviously, but like most of the game, like most of everything in the world are essentially humongous. Like most of everything in the world are just like 10 times bigger than your character. And I guess the bare minimum. The bare minimum is like a 10 times. The bare minimum is like it's 10 times bigger than your character. It's like fucking insane how much bigger everything is compared to your character. You're like this tiny little speck. Like in a raid, you're this like tiny little fucking speck, and the boss is like 50 times bigger than you. It's just like the entire dungeon is like 50 times bigger than you, and this is like every dungeon. It varies between like, hey, is this dungeon 10 times bigger than you, or just, or just, is this only a 10 times bigger than you dungeon, or is this a 50 times bigger than you dungeon? Right, like. That's just how all of them are. But that's the whole thing. It makes it easier because it's like, oh, okay, they don't have to paint a really detailed sculpture because they have such a huge canvas to work with. So they don't have to bother with this bullshit. So, it just is what it is. I think they're able to get away with it. And of course, they're not even trying for realism, so it's like, oh wait, I can't get in. Shit. They're not even trying for realism, so they don't have to worry about that shit at all. And that's like some of the criticism that Final Fantasy got. Like, oh, people are like, well, it didn't really improve it that much. It's like it improved it a fuckload, for one. And second of all, it's because like there's a frame of reference. Like it's relatively realistic. You're like, oh yeah, the models of this, the stone, these are all relatively realistic. Whereas like World of Warcraft is like more cell shaded. So it's like no one's gonna say, oh my god, it's not realistic. It's okay, yeah, it's cartoon. It's cartoony the entire time. It was never supposed to be realistic. So, So I do think, and that's the thing too. Is like Final Fantasy, World of Warcraft is 20 years old, and they haven't done anything like what Final Fantasy does. I think Final Fantasy Like, I think World of Warcraft is an okay game. It's not for me. I don't particularly care for it, but I do think it's a shame that World of Warcraft can't be treated like how the Final Fantasy devs treat Final Fantasy XIV, because Final Fantasy XIV is treated very well. It's properly tested. It's properly. There are minimal bugs on any release, and the bugs that they have are intermittent and rare and relatively minor. Rarely are there game-breaking bugs. So things are tested well, things release on a set schedule, it's designed well, and the game constantly improves. And I think World of Warcraft really doesn't have that. Like, it has some aspects of it, but every aspect it has that is similar to Final Fantasy, Square Enix does it better. You know, like, Blizzard doesn't test their games, and like, obviously they do test their games, but realistically they don't, right? Because they have alphas and they have betas for their game. So they're essentially making the player base test their game for them, and even still, when the game releases, it releases with these game-breaking bugs where they have to roll out fuckloads of nerfs, and even their raids. Like, yeah, raid comes out, it's like, yeah, each raid, like, if you ask a WoW player, like, oh, when a raid comes out, do you expect to get nerfed? Pretty much everyone's going to say yes, right? Because every raid is nerfed. There's the world's first raid, where they release it in such a state where it's pretty much impossible for any new players to beat and compete with world first players, like the people racing for the world first. And then it gets, like, nerfed, and then nerfed and nerfed, until finally it's to a point where the general player base can play it. And I think that's shit. I think that's absolutely dog shit. You should not fucking do that. If you want to make a challenge worthy of a world first race, then make a separate challenge for that. To be like, here's the world first difficulty type thing. So, like, they have, normal, heroic, and mythic. And mythic is like clearing mythic is what is considered clearing world first. What they should do is they should just have another tier above that, and that tier would essentially be what the unnerfed mythic on release is, and that should stay exactly as it is. So it could still be a challenge for people. But the fact that they nerf it just shows that they can't balance their own game worth shit. Either that, or they're making the game artificially hard just to make their game less accessible to the general player base. And they're like, who the fuck does that help? That doesn't help the players, it just helps you to drum up interest for your game on an artificially scarce race to world first, where only 2 teams can realistically compete in it, which is bullshit. Like, that's bullshit. You're designing an experience that literally only 2 groups of people, like only 2 guilds can actually participate in, and then having to nerf the game later, which is like fucking stupid. So yeah, I think that's bad. I think the acceptance of add-ons early on fucked the game's development over, because it let the developers be more lazy, because they realized, oh, well, we don't have to do this, we don't have to design this, we don't have to fix these core problems with the game. We can just let add-ons fix these things. And that's basically what they did. And then they compounded the error by saying, oh shit, now that people are using add-ons for this and this and this, we now have to make the game more difficult, because we have to consider that these people are using add-ons. And therein lies the whole problem with the whole the constantly nerfing raids and shit, is because they're trying to design an experience, they're trying to design an artificially difficult experience for the race to world first, and because everyone, pretty much everyone raiding uses add-ons, the dev team has now considered that as a factor when designing their raids. So now they're making raids that are difficult even if you have add-ons, which is bad, because this game was already inaccessible for new players for mythic raids on release, because if you're increasing the difficulty just to make race to world first interesting, and now that you're considering, which only has 2 teams compete because of how difficult you've made it and how much of a pain in the ass it is to do, how much of a time investment for everything it takes. And now that you're including and considering add-ons in the development of your thing so that you can make it difficult even if you have add-ons. It's further widened the gap. Whereas maybe if you design the game under the assumption that no one has any add-ons, and you designed a difficult fight around that, sure, Race the World first people might finish it in a few days because with add-ons it trivializes some of the things that would be hard, but it would actually allow it would allow teams other than Echo and Liquid to actually compete. Now, they'd still lose, right? Because if they were not using add-ons, they would still get fucked. But I think it's a better experience for the player base as a whole to design a fight that is accessible to the entire player base. That's why, Race the World First in Final Fantasy are so interesting. Is because, yeah, sure, you still have the best teams, right? And the best teams usually clear it. But in the race, you'll hear random people pop up. You'll hear random teams you've never heard of pop up. Now, to be fair, I don't pay attention to this stuff, so I've never heard of them, but that doesn't mean shit. Like, maybe they are well known with their known respective rating circles, and I'm just not part of them. So, but like you see, Race the World First, it includes like a long list of names because you only need 8 people for these things, so it's easy enough to get 8 people to do something, and the expectation is that it's not going to take 500 hours to do something. It's not going to take, it's not going to take that long to do all this shit. So, like, it'll only take a few days, or maybe even if it does take a few weeks, it's whatever. It's accessible enough. So, yeah, maybe realistically you're still not going to be able to do it because of how challenging it is. And with the team you have, it'll still take a few weeks to do it, so that still takes time. But, like, getting, arranging, it just, and that's the thing, is you could also just, like, take off a week, right? You could, hey, you get your static, hey, my static, can we just take, this week off, and work, can we just take this, can we take this week off and then it's Prague? Like, you could at any point be like, hey, if you can get a group of people who can take the week of the raid off, you could actually compete for Race the World First. Whereas, like, the amount of time and gold and guild and shit like that your guild needs to have for a WoW Race the World First, it's crazy. Like, there's just no way that's actually possible for an actual new player. So it's just like, I think that's bad design. Like, I think you should not design a game like that, because you're not designing it for the player base. You're designing it just to make yourself money and so you can sell ad spots and all that bullshit while you have increased the difficulty of the raid so that it lasts as long as possible. Like, I just think, it's just not a way. I don't know, like, Blizzard has done this, like, for a long time, like, these days, where they're just constantly making shit decisions, constantly making decisions where it's like the $90 mount and stuff like that. Like, that's just fucking bullshit. Like, $90, are you fucking kidding me? And, like, because they added the level of utility they did with the auction house and mailbox, players feel compelled to do it because it's just so useful, right? So, its utility is so good that it just makes it kind of a must-buy. And that's bad. That's bad. You should not do that shit. Like, and for $90 too. Like, Square Enix does sell account-bound mounts that are $30, and I think $30 is also very high too. Like, I think the $30 mount is crazy, but that's the price they've relied on. And, like, realistically, you're not really doing anything super amazing with this mount. Like, it doesn't have utility in and of itself. It doesn't, they might have an extra little, like, oh, hey, cool, I have this, I have an action skill. So when I buy this, like, when I press the action button for the mount, it does this little animation thing. It jiggles around and stuff like that, whatever, right? That's all well and good. But it's easy. It's like, oh, okay, well, if you like that, sure, get it, cool. But you don't need it. It's not like that amazing. So it's whatever, right? And it's also $30. It's only $30. Like, And I say only, but it's like it's relative to the $90. And even so, I think $30 is way too expensive. Like I think the fact they even have like they have mounts that are only one character as well. Like you can buy a mount for $10 and you can only give it to one character. Like I think that's a little dog shit. Like I think, but I do get it, right? They are cheaper mounts, and not every player has multiple characters. So like there are some players who just don't want to spend $30 so that they can have a account wide mount when their account only has, you know, one character. So it's like, well, an account bound mount is just the same as a non-account bound mount, or it's just the same as a character bound mount because that's all they use anyway. So it's not worth much. Whatever else. So yeah. Regardless, I think the hands he had was Diadochos hands. Either that or was a Signature. Maybe. Signature or Diadochos, I forget which one it was. Anyway, yeah. So I think the way they treat their players is absolutely dog shit. It's just so predatory. It's just so antagonistic. They're just such pieces of shit to their player base. And the problem is, because they were the first big popular MMO, they can get away with it because they have an addicted player base. And, you know, the people who, I mean, and $90 is expensive and really fucking expensive, but the utility it has for a player who's, like, playing the game excessively, yeah, sure, like, that level of utility, like, I don't think it's as bad in Final Fantasy because, like, sure, like, having a mount that has mail would be cool, but because of how easy it is to get around and fast travels all over the place, it's not really that hard to get to a location where you can get your mail. So the utility is not as useful, whereas in like WoW, because the world is just so needlessly big, getting around is actually somewhat of a chore. And this is kind of like, you know, they made the problem and are selling the solution. And that sucks for the players. But, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, it would be nice, but I don't think it'll ever happen. Like, they are working a little bit. I think the success of Final Fantasy has definitely lit a fire under Blizzard's nose, because, like, WoW has always sucked dick when it comes to, like, not designing their game better, and have just relied on player add-ons to essentially fix the problems they designed into the game. You know, like, in WoW, you couldn't change your UI natively. Right? You couldn't be like, oh, I want to move this thing over there, I want to move this over here. Like, if you wanted to move, you know, this mini map elsewhere, you couldn't. In WoW natively, it was stuck in that location. Your character menu was like stuck here or whatever, right? And for a Final Fantasy player, that's crazy, because like we've had the HUD layout for fucking ever, right? We've had the ability to customize it. Now they've added features to it over time. But like we've had that HUD layout for a long, long time, for many, many years, at least 5+ years. I'm not sure if it was. I'm pretty sure it wasn't there in 2.0. Maybe it was. Maybe it was. I only came in 2.5, and I don't think I fucked around with the HUD layout. I think even in 2.5 it was still there, but I'm not really sure because like it's so long ago. I just can't remember. Like I can't remember looking through the menus and figuring out what existed in every, you know, for that. So I'm not 100% sure, but. Yeah, it is, I do think it's a little bullshit how they just couldn't custom do that. And you know, they did recently add that. You know what? When they recently added it, well, surprisingly, when Endwalker came out and became really popular, and there was the WoW Exodus, when all the WoW players started going to Final Fantasy at the end of Shadowbringers. Yeah, surprisingly, a few patches later, I think in the next expansion they had, boom, all of a sudden, you have a customizable UI. Like in Dragonflight, it was like, oh wow, a customizable UI. It's like, yeah, it took you 20 fucking years to do that. 20 years. And there was an add-on that did this. Like, that was the whole thing, is that you couldn't do it natively, but there was an add-on that allowed you to do it. So it was always possible. They just chose to do nothing. And then it was just incredibly suspicious, the timing, where it's like, oh, look, they're losing a lot of player base in Final Fantasy. And wow, look, now all of a sudden, after 20 years of developing this game, we decided to do something that Final Fantasy had, you know, ages ago, right? And I do understand that there's a big difference in that. If Final Fantasy always had that intention in mind, if you design the game with the ability to do these things, then it's much easier to implement, right? If you've designed you can design a game in a way that allows certain things to be easier. Now, the add-on was able to do it anyway, so presumably it shouldn't have been a huge issue with the core design of the game, but it's hard to tell how it is on the back end. Maybe the way they, maybe what they did was more of a server and client side issue thing, and I mean, obviously, the add-on is only a client side thing, so it's hard to say. But regardless, it's like, yeah, surprisingly, once Final Fantasy started getting suspicious and popular, and people started leaving WoW to play Final Fantasy, that all of a sudden, like, they were all of a sudden able to do this thing that they hadn't done for 20 years, Like, and other MMOs, it's not even just like Final Fantasy, but other MMOs also allow you to customize your UI and move things around. So it's like, the fact that they didn't have it for such a long time, I think that's the biggest problem when you allow add-ons, is you just get lazy developers. Because it's like, well, it's not, because obviously it's not a huge issue. Customizable UI, not a crazy huge issue. It's a relatively minor thing. So it's easy to put that on the back burner, especially when there is essentially a player-made workaround for it. You're like, oh, okay, well, it's not really a problem because they can just do this. But it's like, but that's a bad mentality to have. You shouldn't have, like, add-ons should be a guide to the developers of what your game is missing and what you should add. Borrowing a few things, obviously. Like, Final Fantasy has a lot of add-ons. Some of these add utility, and some of those add-ons have been implemented in the game. Like, one of the more recent ones was you have debuffs, right? Your character has debuffs. Well, there was an add-on that allowed you to see your party members' buffs and debuffs, like the counter on them. So you could see that you could always see that your party had debuffs, but you couldn't see the counter on them. So you don't know, oh, you have this thing that's going to last for 5 seconds. Now, if there was an add-on that allowed you to see, oh, okay, it's a 5-second buff or debuff or whatever. It was an add-on for Final Fantasy. They implemented it into the game. Now, you will get some people who bitch and moan because people are getting banned for an add-on like that, and then the Square Enix goes around and implements it into the game. It's like, well, yeah, because regardless, Square Enix has always said add-ons are not allowed. So, yeah, this is just a universal thing. But, and it does suck, right? Obviously, there were people who got banned. I mean, if there were people who got banned for it, yeah, it sucks because their add-on showed Square Enix how the player base feels about it, right? And so what Blizzard really should be doing is looking through the add-ons and being like, okay, well, here's some, like, there are obviously some, like, sexy mods where you can change your character model to be, like, huge tits or whatever. And obviously, for both World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV, you're not going to add that shit in, right? It's against their vision. It's not good for the game. There are some, like, cheating add-ons that help you, like, for doing raids and stuff. Obviously, they should, World of Warcraft should not implement those into the game either. Because you shouldn't be adding in cheating. You should be adding these cheating add-ons because, like, they're like basically doing the thinking for players. And it's like, no, you shouldn't allow that. But I think what World of Warcraft needs to do is ban add-ons. They need to just do a flat ban on all add-ons, and then go through the add-ons that currently exist and see which ones could and should be implemented within their game. That add utility or features that the game should have, that the player base really wants, but they just have not yet focused on. I think that's what they should do. I don't think they ever will, because they're lazy and they are incompetent developers. Like, they're just incompetent. Like, they can't even test their own fucking game. Like, they can't test their game. Like, I saw an Ian Hazzikostas interview where he was talking about, like, oh yeah, like, well, here's how it is. It's like, when we have our betas and stuff, and you guys are reporting these bugs, well, our team's already working on the next expansion, right? Like, our pipeline is such that, like, by the time we're getting one expansion ready for a release, we've already, like, wrapped up the development for that, and we've started on the next big thing, which is understandable, of course. Like, yeah, once you've finished this expansion, yeah, of course, you got to move on to the next thing. And he's like, so that's why it just takes so long, because we have to add it in. It's like, no. What you should, like, that just shows how incompetent you are as a leader. What you need to do is you need to set aside a group of programmers to deal with that shit right away. You need to be like, hey, most of our team's going to move on to this, but some of you are going to be on our bug fix team who's going to be paying attention for any bugs that are brought up during beta and release to get that shit fixed immediately, to get that done fucking right a fucking way. Because the problem is Blizzard seems to be really good at coming up with ideas, but they are absolutely dog shit at implementation. So they introduced a system and then just for some reason never test or ever play the system. And so when players actually play it, they're like, "This is not fun. This is dog shit. This is too grindy. This is shit. I hate this. This is absolutely terrible. But I have to do it because you forced us to do it as part of the expansion." They've done tons of this tons of times where it feels like because they never actually tested the game ever themselves, they don't realize these very obvious things. Like, I don't play World of Warcraft, so I'm not 100% sure on how the thing is. I've heard people talk about it, and it seems like they keep fucking up the same way. But the same thing happened in Diablo 4. Diablo 4, we played the beta. Everyone complained about the lack of a gem bag. Even in the beta, people were complaining, oh my god, the fact that we have to pick up gems, and the fact that they take up inventory space is bullshit. And now we have to then put our gems in our backpack, so we have to put it in our storage cabinet, is annoying. Like, the fact that when we only have this limited space, and a chunk of it, like a fourth of it, or a tenth of it, was going to be reserved for gems that we're going to pick up, and not even it should be, I think, it'd be like 30 spots, and 5 of them are going to be gems. So it's like, it sucks. It's bad. Like, the fact that you're wasting the limited inventory space on that is bad. And like, we told them that in the beta, like months before the game came out. And it's the kind of thing where it's like, I'm sorry, do you ever play your fucking game? Like, Diablo 3 had a gem bag. Why would you undo the Diablo 3's gem bag and make us pick it up, and then clearly never played your game? Because this is something we noticed, that we can only get to level 20 in the beta and only do chapter 1. And even in that brief little moment, that like 5 hours of gameplay, everyone noticed this shit, right? Everyone noticed that even before the end game came out, we noticed that this would be annoying. And we talked to them about it. Everyone let them know. And what did they do? They did nothing. They released the game. It was exactly the same. And they let us know, oh, we're going to be working on it. It'll be, in season 2. So like, the game released. They hadn't released season 1. Season 1 released. And they're like, yeah, it'll be like season 2. So they were guaranteeing it was going to be like, 4 or 5 months away, which is like over half a year from when we first brought it up. And it's just like that type of shit. And then the fact that aspects just completely fill up all storage space because of how just they designed it. It's like just incredibly poorly designed, poorly thought out ideas that somehow got into the game. And even though everyone complains about it very early on, don't get fixed. And like, the aspect thing only got fixed a literal year later. So like, our storage space was like completely filled up with aspects, so we have to hold on and reserve aspects. And so no matter how many stash tabs we have, it was completely full of armor or aspects. Just so that we have them in case we need them. Because if we ever imprint something and we want to make sure we have a spare just in case we need it, we get something better, right? So it's like we were wasting all our stash space on aspects. And now finally a year later, they were like, okay, finally we added the system. And it's like, the aspects idea was really cool. It was really interesting. The idea is really nice, but just they implemented it so poorly. And the gems, gems are gems or whatever, right? And they just implemented it so poorly. And like, that's just kind of Blizzard in a nutshell. It's just like, they come up with some really good ideas, and their ideas do draw people. People are playing the game because those ideas are interesting, but they just do it so poorly that a game that could be a 10 out of 10, or realistically maybe a 9 out of 10, it ends up being like a 7 out of 10 just because of how poorly they've implemented it. And that's only if it was a 9 out of 10 game to begin with. Otherwise, you just shift it down however many it is. So it's like, yeah. So, yeah. But it's not my company. It seems I kind of wish they would fail more. It's sucky that they're really shit. Really, like, nowadays they're just kind of shit. But the problem is, and normally that'd be like, oh, okay, they're shit, so they're going to go under, or they're going to have to do these. They're going to have to do this and that to make. They're going to have to actually start doing better. They're going to have to make better games because now their company should be poor and stuff. But no, because they were bought out by the right people, and because they've monetized their player base so aggressively, they're able to essentially hide the fact that they're producing shit by over monetizing the people who like it. And so it's like, yeah, these $90 amounts. It's like, yeah, we've been producing a shit game for a long time. Well, guess what? Here's a $90 amount to make up for the losses make up for the losses in player count we've had. Like, that's what it feels like. Maybe the player count hasn't gone down, but it's just like, oh, well, we really need it to be better, and or our player base hasn't gone up like we want. So we're gonna have to charge $90 amount just so we can make up for what our expectations were on sales. And that's terrible, right? It's just fucking over the player base because they can't design a good game. Which is like, yeah, obviously bad. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call it. I just wanted to pop in and do my Frontline Roulette because I need to get this done. So, yeah, so I need 2 more Frontline Roulettes to get to 24. Although I might need 3, depending. It's if I get 3rd place tomorrow and the next day, then I think I only get 2,000 a day, and then I'll be 50 points short of 50 points short of the Series 24. But then I'll probably need 3. So realistically, I think you get between 2,000 and 2,500, depending on what place you get. So you get 1,000 from the roulette, and 1,000 base for playing. You get 1,000 for getting 3rd place, 1,250 for 2nd place, and 1,500 for 1st place. So you get between 2,000 and 2,500. So I guess at 7,500, I'd have to get 1st place 3 times to level, which I guess. So I guess on average it would take between 3 and 4. Between 3 and 4 to level up. But I just need 2 more for this, and then one more level to get this little amount. I should. We obviously drag things on way too long. Like there's in 8 days there's the patch. In 8 days there's the patch. It's probably gonna be maybe a full 1 day downtime. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the 11th I'll be able to play, but I have to spend, I have to essentially play Frontline Roulette, and we'll see that on maybe Saturday, Sunday, I might have to, I'll have to go over and, maybe on Saturday, Sunday, I'll go over and, run some crystalline conflicts to bump myself up if I'm short. I shouldn't be short. I should be able to do it with purely just Frontline Roulettes, but if I am, I'll definitely do that because I want them out. And I should have been keeping an eye on the ball. I should have logged in to do that, but they were like, it's like a month. I've had, like the past month, I've been kind of not been playing as much. I've been playing other games, so I've been getting distracted. Because I was so focused on doing PvP, not PvP, hunts. I got my S rank hunts done. Now the only hunts I need to do are the A ranks for this. So essentially, I just need 812 more A ranks, and then I will be done. And I will have the Shadowbring Dawn Trail hunt mount, and I won't have to do hunts at all. And that'll be fun. One less thing to do. But yeah, I was so focused on S ranks that I just kind of I didn't want to queue up for anything because I didn't want to not be there to make a hunt. So slacked a little bit, and then once I finished hunts, I'm like, I just took a few weeks where I didn't. I took like a week off where I didn't even log into the game at all. Just wanted to relax. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.